Hey guys, welcome back. This is APT Songs.
What's up? I'm Nielle.
And we're back with another random ass conversation for you guys today. A lot of stuff happened this past week, and we want to talk about it.
Okay, let's do it.
That's what we're gonna do. So first off, did you see Bad Boys 4 this weekend?
I did not. I'm kind of waiting for it to come on one of my streaming apps.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, see, that's why theaters are closing down, because people don't want to go to the movies anymore.
Yeah. The last time I went to the movies was to see Wakanda 2.
That was a long time ago. That was like a year and a half ago.
Everything comes on your TV like less than a month, and then they'll charge you like $20. And then it's like if you wait 2 more months, it's free.
I know, but I still like the experience of like, for certain kinds of movies. Like if it's like I saw Poor Things or Poor Things, I saw that at home because it's not a movie that requires you to see luscious things. But like action stuff with guns a-blazing, car chases, explosions, like that, just the experience of that on the big screen is still a big deal to me. Like I got a big TV, but it's just not the same.
Yeah, for me it's like I say, like a Wakanda or Star Wars or something like that. I'll want to actually go into the theaters. But anything else, I can wait for it.
Is there anything coming out like all this year that you'd be like, nothing?
No, nothing is inspiring me to head to the movie.
That's why they're losing money, because man, people are we got trained by COVID. Like COVID really taught us, like, wait, we can see these at home, right? Like, and Hollywood's willing to do that. That's just so sad, because I like that experience though. I don't know if that experience will go extinct as more people get used to streaming or not. Like the going to the theater.
No, I think that going to the movies is still an experience that you could do with your family or things like that. And like I say, every now and then, I'll want to go to the movies, but I'm just not a theater. Oh, the last movie I saw at the theaters was Renaissance.
Beyonce. Oh, the Beyonce.
Yes, I did go to Renaissance.
But you saw the concert also.
I went to the concert.
Okay, yeah.
And then I went to see Renaissance.
How was Renaissance? Because I went to see that and I never got around to it yet.
It was extremely long. I felt exhausted.
Longer than the.
It's different when you're in the concert. You're a part of the experience. Looking at the experience, I definitely tip my hat to Beyonce for all of the hard work she puts in. I admire her family unit and how they all support her and they traveled with her. I thought that was huge. It was just long.
Wow.
But if I was at home, I would have no problem, because just the other day I watched Black is King.
Oh, did you? Oh, the Lion King one. Yeah. Okay.
And so that's one of my favorite. That's probably in my top 3 of favorite Beyonce albums. And so it was fun to watch it. It was background. Sometimes I got drawn into my favorite scenes. So I think if Renaissance comes on a streaming platform, I will appreciate that experience much better.
I don't know if it's already on one or
no, it's not.
It's not?
No, Beyonce does Beyonce.
She has to keep all of her stuff like to herself.
How she wants to do it, and she's earned that luxury.
That is fair. Yeah. Darn it, that means I got to figure out a way to. I mean, I won't say the means in which I'll have to go to watch it now. Just say it's somewhere out there. I'll be able to watch it, but I don't know how that'll happen yet. But I want to see that.
I don't know if she's even gonna put it out anytime soon.
Okay.
She's on the Cowboy Carter.
True. Well, I will say I think you missed a treat, because like. Me and my friends went to go see Bad Boys 4 this weekend, and it was absolutely phenomenal. We actually...
see, I'm hearing mixed reviews.
No, real talk, because we all sat down and watched the first 3 like a month ago so we could be caught up. So, but I thought this one, like... there's going to be people that, hey, if movie's one of those mediums, you can like it or hate it or whatever, but I just thought that, like, basically, if you like the previous Bad Boys and you're a fan of Will and Martin, then you're going to like this movie. But I saw it twice, because me and my friend saw it a couple days beforehand, and then we saw it with the rest of my friends the 2 days later.
Wow.
And I had to say as good of a time the second time as I did the first time. So that's my high recommendation. But that said, so the movie was number 1 at the box office. They projected it was going to make $30 to $50 million, and it made $56 million.
So Will is back.
So Will never left. Like, Will had, like, the Emancipation movie come out that mostly ended up on streaming because of the whole slap incident. But, like, at least the black community, as far as I know, didn't really ever cancel him. Like, he actually, there's a TikTok of he went to Baldwin Hills, right up the street, and went there and saw the movie, and nobody knew it was him. He was all masked up.
Oh, he was
Yes, right there, where we live right near Baldwin Hills. And then afterwards, like, people are leaving the movie, he came out and he's like, hey, glad you guys had a good time. Oh my God, Will Smith! Crowd around him, getting autographs, taking pictures, like, the love for him there. I'm still watching Fresh Prince to this day, But a person that is not seemingly doing that is Stephen A. Smith, who he said a few things this past weekend about Will Smith and going to see the movie. I want to make sure I get this right.
Okay.
Because he was still mad at Will 2 years later, as I imagine Chris Rock also is, for the slap incident that happened at the Oscars. So,
well, I think a lot of people feel a certain way, but then those are rich people problems too.
like real talk, like at the end, I'm like, look. Because this is, and I've said this before, like I have a problem in the society whereby, the people that don't apologize for stuff tend to be like totally fine. Like Trump doesn't apologize for nothing, and people still follow him to this day.
Interesting?
Yeah, because he's saying like, well, he needs to have a sit down with Chris Rock and talk about stuff and talk to he said he needs to have a sit down with the black community at large to talk about what this slap issue means on a bigger realm before he'll forgive him enough to go to a movie. And I'm like, Will done said, I'm sorry. He done quit the Academy. He done made a personal video to Chris Rock saying.
So let's just be clear. He was basically forced to quit the Academy. It wasn't,
that is fair.
Willing.
Yes.
But it's just like when you get fired or laid off, it's like
he came out like 2 days later after the slap happened and said I'm quitting, and then a week later they said we're officially like
right, because he knew it was coming.
Yeah. But even with that, again, he's already reached out to Chris. He done apologized through video.
Did he reach out to Chris?
He did. He reached out to Tony Rocks. That's his brothers. They were friends, and Tony was like, he don't want to talk to you. And then he made a video saying, hey everybody, my bad. I was going through this, but that's an excuse.
That wasn't. It was like.
But that's my point. Is that what kind of apology is ever good enough? And that's why I say when people come out and actually want to apologize, the public at large is like, well, that apology's not good enough. We didn't really mean it. You're just trying to save your reputation. And so I'm like, why would somebody want to apologize if that's every time if somebody does that, they end up getting that backlash?
But I had a funny thing. I think in the black community, we just have come to the conclusion that Jada has broken Will down. And so we just kind of are living with that. But we love it. And that's what I love when you could separate the art from the person. Because we know, whatever's going on in the Pickett Smith house, whatever.
Yeah.
But Bad Boys was something that was a part of the culture. We love Martin.
Yep, still is, because we still quote that movie heavily. Like, that's got a lot of good quotables.
We don't see him much. So just those two together in the chemistry, it's like Beverly Hills Cop, which is coming out.
Yeah, with Eddie Murphy. Yeah.
It's like Rush Hour. Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker.
Yeah, if they ever make a fifth or fourth one,
right.
I'd still be there. Even if it's like the horrible thing, I still want to see them together.
It's a brand. It's like Friday. We want to see Chris Tucker and Ice Cube together again.
Yes.
It's a whole, it's a vibe. It's part of the culture.
I think that also speaks to franchises, because I think Will made it very, very smart. Because I saw the Bad Boys 3 in 2020, and it was like 15 years between that one and the previous one, right? As soon as the slap happened, my first thought was, if he wants a comeback, he's got to do a sequel to something that's already out there, because people might be mad at you, but they're not necessarily mad at the brand that you're in, because there are plenty of celebrities that have had a rep go awry, but they jump into a movie that's a franchise that they were a previous part of, and it's like, oh, we're gonna see it again. Oh my God, this is so great, So I thought that was a very smart move. On top of again, Bad Boys is a reliable movie in terms of getting in, you're gonna get certain action shots. You're gonna get Martin and Will's banter. You're gonna get a bad guy that comes out of nowhere, but you kind of know who he is. But you're gonna get these action set pieces, and we expect all that. So if I want that feeling tone, I know where to get it, and it's only from them. You couldn't have Martin Lawrence and insert name of other black actor in that role. It wouldn't work. Because we're so used to them being together for the last three movies. Yeah.
Somebody, they could kill Will's character off, and then
they could.
It depends on the writing. The writing will make the difference.
Yes, but do you want to kill the money? They killed the captain of theirs in the last movie, but he's not a main character of that.
I don't remember who that was.
Exactly. Yeah, he's partially in this movie also, but I think even think I wonder if they killed off Martin's character, if they could go with Will and somebody else. I think that would be more reliable to do than killing off Will and bringing somebody else in for Martin.
Okay, so you're a big Will from Philly fan.
Well, I'm just looking at the optics of the only time Martin does movies now is when Bad Boys 4 comes out, and that's if Will agrees to do it. So even Martin knows, look, it went from...
But it's not like Will's coming out with the gang of movies. What's the last movie he came out with since Emancipation?
Well, that's only funny you mentioned that, because they said that prior to Bad Boys 4 coming out, his agents have now started putting out feelers and making phone calls in the event that this movie made money, because like now it's like, he's got money. So it's like Will was smart. Will was like, look, Mill was still making money. He was still producing The Fresh Prince, the new version of Bel-Air, and some other movies that came out. If you look I always look at the titles of people on things. So Will Smith's stuff was still, name was all of our stuff still.
Him and Jada have Overbrook, and that's their production company. So yeah, they still put their stamp on stuff, just like Brad Pitt. Doesn't he have like A24?
Yes, and his reputation is also because of the divorce from Angelina and his alleged abusive kids.
Well, no, we've determined that it's Angelina, it's not Brad.
You think so? Really?
We've determined that.
Well, I did not know that. Who has determined this?
The culture. We've determined this.
Oh my! Because I will say I definitely am leaning more towards that way. I am also looking at how the kids have responded in terms of he abused this and that, or
her keeping the kids away from him like he was some just monster. I mean, come on.
No, I have seen they call it bitter baby mama syndrome, of like that mothers will come tell things to their kids about how horrible their dad is, and then come find out later like either none of it was true or not the level that she made it out to be. So that is a very real possibility.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm glad that her daughter was able to go to Spelman.
Yes.
Her black daughter, and she embraced it. So I'm not saying that she's a bad person.
Yeah.
But I definitely think she was a bad partner. And that they might have had some bad things happen.
Yeah.
In between their relationship. And we don't know what happened, but for the most part, Brad Pitt seems like a real chill type guy. And
well, it's interesting because like I also in a lot of these cases I noticed like the women will come out and be like, he did this and blah 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 blah. Right. And then let's say I always say there's two people in a relationship. So both
aren't they still married?
No, they finally got the divorce like finalized. Like you guys are officially single people. So that did happen. That happened like late last year.
Yes. Yeah. It happened recently. So like all of that just kept going. Yeah. And
but I've noticed like most of the time like I noticed like in Brad's case like Brad hasn't come out and really said anything other than I want to see my kids. And I know that happens a lot with dudes specifically where it's like I'm not going to come out and badmouth. I just want to see my kids. That's right. I'm not going to badmouth her because I know if I do that it's going to be harder to see my kids. And then the wife will go around and just badmouth all day long. The dude like it's not very fair.
And one of the kids even dropped his name.
Yeah. The last name? Yeah.
So we'll pray for the Pitts and the Jolies.
Hollywood drama. But you mentioned about not forgiving. So there's another actor that's in the news, Kevin Spacey. I don't know if you guys know who he is, but
loved House of Cards.
Yeah.
Loved it.
And he was, he got taken off that show because a guy came out and said that Kevin Spacey did some touchy-feely things to him that he didn't ask for. And then kind of find out in court, like that was not. So with these kind of allegations,
so in court they found out it wasn't true?
Well, either it wasn't true, or the guy decided to stop pressing it. But either way, like the case went away. Okay. But I've noticed that happens also where it's like an allegation will come out against somebody, and the news is all over it, and then at the point that the case goes away, or the person is found innocent, or like just it stopped, whatever, it goes away. Like the news doesn't come back and say like, oh, our bad, but meanwhile, that person's life is ruined. So again, I wasn't there for those incidents. I can't save Kevin Spacey. But the point is that he's now saying that he had to sell one of his homes, that he's basically out of money, he's broke, he owes money for lawyers, and this and that. And again, he's still in court for other stuff. None of this stuff has been proven. Nobody's actually found him guilty of anything. How do you feel about that kind of situation?
I think he's a great actor. And then we live in the space of public opinion now, which is sometimes like remember like back in the day when when the settlers used to think you were a witch and they used to come with the torches.
We're still doing that. Oh my God.
Or the Scarlet Letter. Yeah. And then it's like, huh? And so I think that we're living in a time like that, but it's happening through social media. And public opinion outweighs sometimes the court system, which could be unfair. And then I think a lot of it has to do with people just minding their own fucking business.
Well, that's a hard thing with like like I said, in Kevin Spacey's case, like the guy did come out and was like, "Oh my gosh, he did something." Yeah. So it's like, I wish
he lost House of Cards, which was a great show. They killed him off, and then his wife became the president.
Right, of course.
But I mean, and he played in a lot of other good movies.
Seven, like he did such a good job in Seven.
Great actor. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
And I'm always torn between like, I hate that people come out with these stories and then people jump on the guy before anything's found out in court. Right. But at the same time, I'm also like, as a guy that lives out here in Hollywood, I have been to places where, like, I can tell some shifty stuff's about to go down, and I'm like, let me remove myself from this situation, because I don't want to be around, even if people, like, I think about the whole Jeff Epstein thing, where it's like, even if people didn't do stuff, the fact that they were around Jeff Epstein, they look kind of suspicious and weird. So I'm like, even if Kevin, hypothetically, we said we don't know if he did stuff or not, but if he was putting himself in scenarios where that stuff could be more believable that it happened than not, that's on him for being in those situations, and that kind of sucks that, people aren't able to look at things and say, should I continue with this situation or not?
Right.
So, sorry you're losing your house. Hopefully you'll be able to find some place. And I don't know, like as an actor, that's all he knew how to do. So what kind of work can he get now?
He could start a production company. He can create.
Will people want to work with him though? Well, there are some people that come out in his defense and said, hey, he needs to be back on or whatever.
He could be a ghostwriter. I mean, sometimes in life, we all have to reinvent ourselves. And that goes from Main Street to Wall Street to Hollywood. So he's in a space to where he has to reinvent himself. But he does sit in a small space still of privilege.
Yes.
And so he just should figure it out. And, we all have to figure it out.
Yeah, very, very true. Very true. So a lot more stuff happening also. So I think the big story that broke this week also was that Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, was found guilty. So I guess back in the day when he was doing drugs, I guess if you're doing drugs, you can't also buy firearms. And it was at least proven in court that while he was doing cocaine, he bought a weapon, and I think one of his women or ex at the time like stashed the gun or tried to throw it out, whatever like that. So basically he got found guilty for buying a gun when he was doing drugs. And the president came out and said, basically, we respect the decision. We're not going to fight it. Like, it is what it is. We still love our son. Now, I found that response to be interesting and in stark contrast to last week's verdict for Trump, when he was found guilty of paying off a porn star a bunch of money to keep it silent that he hooked up with her. I just find it fascinating, like, the reaction being so different. So what does this say?
The reaction from who? Biden?
Well, no, the reaction from the really from Republicans, honestly, because they were saying, when Trump got found guilty, oh, it's a sham, it was a sham trial, and it's all about Joe Biden judges, and this is that. And then fast forward to his own son gets found guilty, and they're like, well, but it wasn't a big case anyway, and the real money is in the Biden crime family, this is that. But like they're trying to push like the courts aren't fair, but it's like his son got found guilty and they didn't step in, So how do you feel, how do you view the hypocrisy of that?
I mean, it's just the times we live in, it's I really don't. I mean, it's Republicans are, they're far right.
Mm-hmm.
They're not
off the
even,
cliff right.
They're not even Republicans anymore. They're MAGA. And MAGA being of Donald Trump and coming from an old history and sentiment in this country of white privilege, white supremacy, white nationalist. And so what do you expect? Yeah, it's just, I just think about stuff like that. Like, what is their ultimate end game? Like, their ultimate end game is to keep power, because what bothers them the most right now is that whether the census says it or not, they are no longer the majority.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so. I think that was proven when Donald Trump was in office in 2020, because the census only happens every 10 years.
Right.
And he did everything he could to prevent the numbers from being accurate, right? He fired people. He canceled some of the, how people, when they come to your house in certain areas, the post office, remember the whole post office situation where you could turn, mail in your census count? Remember,
okay.
He did a lot of things known and unknown to prevent that. And basically, black and brown, were mostly brown people, are, 3 times producing, and migrants are coming. They're no longer the majority, and that is their number one fear factor. And so instead of acknowledging it, they're doing everything they can institutionally to keep that power. And that's one thing that they have done since the inception of the United States, is set up laws constitutions to where they have power. And so that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to keep that power. And if Donald Trump gets back in office, have you heard of Project 2025?
I have not heard of Project 25.
So Google Project 2025, and it is the Republican agenda to get rid of the U.S. education system, the department.
Okay.
To double down on anti-abortions, to keep white power. Google Project 2025, and if Donald Trump gets into office, that is the way that they are going to systemic racism, systematically keep their power.
It's just funny that they can put their agenda out there so blatantly, and people be like, "Yep, I'm up for it." I mean, I guess given that they're trying to stay in power, the people that want that also, that would make complete sense.
But they don't have to have the masses to keep the power if they just get people elected in the right places.
True.
And so that they know. Typically, a non-presidential elections voter turnout is extremely low. That's when you have your school board members, critical race theory, banning of books. So, turnout is very low between minorities and just at large. So that's easy how they slide these people into office, and then it keeps their agenda.
Yeah, and then you also put like stuff in bills, like they stuff it in like 165-page bills where they put some stuff in that they want because nobody's paying attention.
But the legislators are paying attention. The Democratic legislators are paying attention. But if they have the majority, it doesn't matter. Like, we vote for those people to read those 160 pages. And
so people actually read that stuff.
So if you're an elected, let's just say you're in the Senate, a U.S. Senate or House of Representatives, or even on a state level, you have a whole team. You have a team that reads just the laws, and you have a legislative deputy or something, and then they come to report to you. That's their job. So it's set up. They know. But if you don't have the numbers, like just think about what happened in Tennessee with Justin.
Oh,
Justin.
yeah.
You see what I'm saying? They were advocating for gun reform, but they didn't have the majority. Because they didn't have the majority, the Republicans were able to kick them out of office and make them run again. So it's all in the numbers and the powers, and that's the one thing that MAGA is good at. They're good at keeping the power, and they're going to continue to do that until we decide,
Yeah, so that's why it's important, guys. You got to vote in November. I mean, it's always important to vote either way, whether it's a presidential year or not, because, like you said, like a lot of things, like police, was it officers or chiefs or something like that? Like the head of the police department gets voted. That then people in charge of school boards, like all that stuff is what's actually like the president to me is always like the figurehead. Like he's going to get, whether the economy's going good or bad, he's going to get blamed for it. But it's really like the people in the House of Representatives and the Senate and the people in the local level that are actually doing the work, that are ideally pushing the president's agenda, but they're the ones that are getting it passed or not passed. So if you have a Democratic president with Republican people in Senate and House majority, that president's going to look bad when his stuff doesn't get passed. That is planned out. That is designed. Like I remember when Obama was in office, they had a whole meeting where they were like, make sure we vote for none of his stuff. Then they could say later on, Obama's done nothing. Y'all stopped all his bills. Right. So like, be mindful that that's why it's important to vote in November. You know?
Yeah. Up and down the ballot.
Yes. Yeah, so don't just go like, president, okay, I'm done. Like, do the whole ballot. Right. Do people ever just not do the ballot? Just like they go on just for president, vice president, and then just call it a day?
Well, yeah, if they don't know, sometimes people feel like it's better to not if you don't know, because then you might cast for like a lot of times, if you look at the ballot and then all the judges, a lot of times those are left blank because you don't want to put somebody in a judge seat that's not going to be fair. Right. So it's better just not to vote for them at all instead of doing the education. Or, just a little fact check in or get you a slate. A lot of people put out slates, and slates are experienced people who maybe align with your views and values, and they kind of do the ballot for you. So you just take that into the thing with you and just check.
I did not know that. Interesting. Also, I just always had a side thing of like, everybody says with the Trump stuff like, oh, the judges are corrupt and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, didn't Trump put in the most amount of judges that any other president, like while he was in office, and on top of the 3
federal judges,
the Supreme Court justices that also got in, like, so for him to go from like, he picked all the judges to like, they're all corrupt and they're all for Biden. It's like, but you did crimes. Like, I think he got mad when he did the 2020 thing when he was trying to go to judges and be like, hey, I really won. And the judges he picked were like, sorry, bro, we can't help you. Right. So how do you go from that to like, but now they're all corrupt for Biden?
I mean, because public opinion. You're not talking to, you're just trying to sway. It's MAGA. He's talking to his base. He's not talking to us. He's talking to his base.
Wow. And it works so well. I'll give nothing else. He's a good marketer. I'll give him that. Like, people there needs to be a whole course in college, like Trump 101, how this dude got to be president. Because in terms of his optics and how he like promoted himself, it's absolutely amazing. Like, the study that I take a college course in that. But he had a machine behind him. He had Steve Bannon, who had Bart Bright. You had Stephen Miller. You had the CPAC behind you. You had the Republican Party behind you. And so if you're able to get all of these entities behind you, and Steve Bannon and Stephen Miller, they control white nationalists. They're you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't just him, it was his generals up under him. So like I say, it comes from a whole historical context of white supremacy, white nationalists. His father used to be a member of the KKK. Oh, I did. I knew he was reading Nazi. I didn't know he was.
Grandfather. It was in the New York Times. Google it. There was a riot in New York with the KKK, and it was either his father or his grandfather. So it's in his blood, and he might have mingled with black folks, but in his blood. The secret, what do they call it? The secret boys club. They got out.
The old boys club. The old boys club. Yeah. I haven't heard that term in a long time. Oh man! So lastly, there were some social media things that happened this week. Okay. Because I'm on TikTok. She's on TikTok. I just passed 10,000 followers, so I'm very excited. So thank you to all that watched my various stuff and things to get me to that level. It's amazing. So I'm on there quite frequently now.
This is TikTok is a great space for you to be in. It matches your style. Like I was telling you, I also think you should get into Twitch. Yeah, no, Twitch is. I've been on there a couple of times, but for different things, but I think I'm trying to figure out a lane to do for that, because I think I could definitely start building numbers on there. In my years of doing this, I've gotten 2 channels that are now both monetized on YouTube, and now I'm going to be monetized on TikTok. I should create a course, because I don't know how I keep doing this, but so Twitch will probably be the next platform that I go to for like specific things like video games and stuff like that, because people are on there like blowing up. No, I mean, Twitch is not just, it's everything. Like, didn't you do like the dial? Oh yeah. It's just like going live and just doing whatever. And so I don't know much about Twitch. I'm not trying to be on Twitch, but that Kai guy. Yeah, Kai. Oh my gosh, yeah. We got Kevin Hart on there and stuff. Like Drewski did. I mean, I'm still laughing. It was the best. I said I want those 3 to do a summer camp movie. Like all of them. I can see that. Just those 3 the way, because she showed me the video beforehand. All the friends, like, do a summer camp movie, and it will be the funniest hilarious thing. They were just improv, it was funny. Like, you guys just do that. Just get on set and do like a loose thing, like Curb Your Enthusiasm. We have a scenario and go, and then just let them like riff. That. Yeah, no, that's what they were doing. No, I'm saying they could do that as a whole movie. Like, that would be great. Yeah. But I want to see a summer camp. I want to see that the Drewski and Kai as like the camp captains, and then Kevin might be the director, and then you get these funny ass kids. Yes. And some type of scenario, but I just think they would be hilarious in a adult kid space. Yes. Oh, Kevin, Kai, if you're watching this and you take this idea, we want credit, because this is brilliant stuff right now we're coming up with. I mean, yeah, I want to be a part of it. I'll be in it. I'll give me a cameo. But yeah, I'll help produce. Make that summer counselor movie. That would be hilarious, because like Kevin already got the gray beard going, so he could be like the counselor, and the kids are coming in, and like the Kai and his friend could be either the counselors. They could be like the kids that are trying to stay out of trouble, but things keep happening. Like, it'd be a throwback to like those 80s movies. Like, that's what I thought about. That's what they gave me, that vibe in that room, and it was just so much. It just looked like so much fun, and when like you say the term joy, it was just they lived up to that. And that's an example, by the way, of like, because Kai invited Kevin over for a sleepover party, and it was fun, had his friends there. That's an example of like doing that the right way and things going great.
But that said, there have also been incidents as of late where that hasn't gone so great. So there's another streamer. I haven't fully studied up on what he does and what he streams, but his name is Ty James. It goes by, real name's Ty Lil, I guess. And he invited Michael Rainey Jr. over, who's on the Power Show, Book of Ghosts. Part 2. So, but yeah, he got invited over to his house to be on the stream, and then Ty's little sister on the side of the screen, you see her coming in, and she starts like filling up on your boy. And you could see his face on screen getting like really uncomfortable. He's just like, what the freak? And so he came out and was like, I think I got SA'd on camera. Like, what the freak's going on? And so Ty James had to come out and say, hey, basically, my bad, I'm sorry, like, I saw the thing, I'm totally disgusted, she's not allowed on anymore. So that happened, and when I saw that incident, because I saw that incident, and then I saw, like, the various comments around it, and I think this is just, as an observer of this, I think this is the first time I've seen a guy come out and say, hey, I was SA'd by a woman, and the public didn't take it as a joke.
Oh yeah, I can agree with that. I can agree with that.
Yeah, so I'm interested. Like, do you feel as though this means that like the tide is actually turning? Like, it's starting to be taken seriously that guys also have this happen to them?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. We're living in a time. Yeah, we're living in those times. I thought it was insensitive for 50 Cent to say.
Oh God, what did 50 say? Because he's okay.
He just said something to the effect of, "This isn't sexual assault. It was just, out of line or out of pocket." Mm-hmm. And it's like, first of all, who asked for your opinion? Ooh. And he came out with, his comment. So if that's how he feels, why can't you accept that and try to like make him feel like, don't be a bitch. It was inappropriate, but that wasn't sexual assault. Like, who are you to do that? And then I just feel like that was inappropriate. Like, what happened to him was inappropriate. He responded to it. And then for like 50 to come in and say that, knowing that you have the power to give him another job or whatever, it was just totally inappropriate. Just like, as of late, 50 Cent has been, it's like, it's almost getting to the point to where 50 is overshadowing all of the bomb work he's doing. You know what I'm saying? Because he's injecting himself in shit that don't have nothing to do with him. And
it's also like he's trying to be the old 50, which is like when he was doing music and records, being old 50, it was great because it sold, it caused controversy, it pumped for the next album. He doesn't have like albums or music coming out. So like, why say all this stuff? You're not putting out anything else that's going to be worth you saying that statement, so you could just like not say it. Especially with people that you are hiring and working with, they're coming out and saying, "Hey, I feel like I got SA. I didn't want this to happen." His response is like, "Come on, guy." And but historically that has been the response.
That's his vibe. But that's his vibe. But I just thought that it was insensitive to Michael putting out a statement on how he feels, and then him saying like, "Well, that wasn't sexual assault. That was just, inappropriate. Move on." That's not your call.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not even 50. I'm saying historically, just when guys come out and say, "Hey,"
no, I get that, but I'm just talking about 50 Cent.
Oh yeah. So, but yeah, it's like that weird thing of like, as a guy, we're supposed to like, for one, because it can be hard for guys to necessarily get women, that we should be happy anytime women pay us any kind of attention, even if it means like they're touching us in ways that we're not expecting. And it's just like, that is not really a good narrative, because then guys are thinking like, well, I should just suck it up and enjoy it. And it's like, but if that wasn't the moment where he wanted that to happen, then who's to say that we should be telling him, no, in that moment you should have enjoyed it? Because, like, you don't know if he got a girl, even if he doesn't have this stuff, but if he had a girlfriend or a wife, this and that, like, totally inappropriate. If he didn't have that stuff, totally inappropriate for that moment. And then on camera, like, she was bold with it. Like, he did not look like he was having a good time. He didn't look like he was having a good time.
No. Mm-mm.
Yeah. So we had that incident that happened. And then you told me the story about the white woman that was online saying the N-word.
Oh, yeah. She said the N-word. She got fired from her job, though. So justice served.
I mean, justice served, but like, so she was on.
But she's like MAGA. I saw an interview like that. That is a typical profile of a MAGA.
Of just like saying, because she did put out a comment that's like, A, she's not gonna apologize, and also she said, you guys just made me more popular with conservatives. I'm like, but do conservatives, it's not that it's a secret, but it's like, do they want to have that out loud? Like, oh, I say the N-word and I'm a conservative. Like, do they really want that as their forward putting reputation?
The MAGAs don't care. They don't care. Like, you keep trying to give them a certain decency that they just don't have. That is who they are. She is a representative of a cousin of Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Oh my God!
You know, that's just how they get down. I mean, it is. This is the times we live in, and you know, she got fired, so maybe she will reflect, or she's probably just going to double down, or Fox News will hire.
I find people like that don't tend to reflect back. Like, they're just kind of like, well, it's like it seems like that whole side in general is just like victim mentality. Like, if I'm going to like, because she'll say like, you know, oh, I don't like when, you know, Democrats do whatever, this and that. They say this is that, but then they get fired. Well, yeah, I said the N-word, but it's free speech. And then she would say like, oh, it's free speech out there. And it's like, how far does free speech actually go to where it's like, we have to be accepting of all free speech? Because it really realistically, does that person, the company that she was with, she got fired and the head of that company was an African-American woman. How you thought you were going to be able to say that and be able to go to work the next day and her be cool with it is like, how would that even be in your head?
Right.
You know?
Right.
But that goes to like, again, how far does free speech actually go? In relevance to like the consequences you face.
It's relative. It's like you can't go yell fire in a movie theater while you're watching Bad Boys and somebody comes in and yells fire or shooter and gets people to running. That's where it's not free speech. It's causing, you know what I'm saying? So it's relative to the situation.
Yeah. And I'm still amazed that in 2024, somehow, because even if it's like this person, I think it was doing it intentionally, but there are still white people out there or people of other races that are thinking I can just say the N-word. I know back when I was like an Uber driver years ago, I was picking up some young boys and nobody was black. It was like, I think it was like an Asian guy, a Filipino guy, 2 white dudes, whatever like that. And they were just in the back of my car just saying, yeah, my N-word, blah, 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 blah. And I'm sitting there like, they know I'm black, right? But I'm also realizing like the generation under us now, it's like they really grew up where because of it's in rap music and because it's in popular media, they really don't make the connotation anymore of like the N-word is equated with like horrible things that happen to black people. I don't know when that switch happened.
Yeah, it's the millennials. Yeah. Happened with the millennials.
Those darn millennials. Apparently 82 is like the last year millennial, or it's like a slash between millennial and Gen X. Like we're in that weird limbo of like, I guess depending on how you act or look, you could be either one. What's your generation?
We don't have to talk about that. No, I'm Gen X. I am Gen X, and I'm proud of it because I probably was a part of the last generation with any type of sense. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I saw this video yesterday that let me know I was old. There was a young girl, and they were playing, in the background was playing Mr. Telephone Man. And so she's going over the lyrics, and her dad's sitting there, and they pan to him, and he's looking all like perturbed and annoyed that she doesn't know this stuff. But she's sitting there like, so like when he says, like there's someone on my line, like what's a line? And then when he says, when I dial my baby's number, there's a click, is like, so like, would they be talking and the phone would just go like, was there just a sound? And he had to explain to her, no, when you hang up the phone. And so he's looking all mad. I'm like, she was born in like 2010.
Right,
there's no way she's going to know this.
Like most people don't even have landlines in their house.
Yeah, even like most businesses most of the time, like they'll have them just as a courtesy, but most people are still in their jobs on cell phones. Right. I went to Ike's Burgers place yesterday, and a person behind the counter on the phone, on their cell phone. So like to be mad at a young person now to like not know this stuff, like why would they know that?
Right. But I mean, it was a fun time in life where there were, so the freedoms that we have now, they're beneficial, but it was just during a time where things were a little more conservative.
Yes.
No mean no. Yes means yes. And there were boundaries. Yes. And so it seems like we want to live in a world now where there are no boundaries. No. But differences matter. They matter. And it's just a weird time we're living in. And with all of the Trump stuff and all of the things that are happening, it's going to be interesting to see like what things are like in 20 years from now. Because it's semi-scary. It's semi-scary.
I always look at it like it's kind of a pendulum swing happening. Like, okay, so like back in the 50s and stuff, right? You had parents that didn't have to be overly emotional. They could just, the dads could just go to work and come home and never talk to their kids. And it's like, that's just how it was. And so there wasn't a lot, talking like a lot of, emotional and safe spaces and all sort of stuff, right? And so admittedly, some of that did cause some people to grow up and like not have this. So that was like the far end, right? So somehow it's like, okay, let's start getting better at that. Let's listen to people's emotions. Let's like have a space for them. Let's let all people have their say and, buy into like, yes, your emotions are valid, this and that. But now it's going the opposite way where people are too emotional. People are too sensitive.
Like what I'm finding, and now I just caught on, but like we went from, a word retarded.
Yes.
Now it's not okay to say.
Yes.
Now it's mental health, and now it's called the spectrum.
Yes.
And so I was like, spectrum? I have spectrum cable. What is the spectrum? But, so now we've gone from retarded to the spectrum. Mm-hmm. And then it's like you wonder in 20 or 30 years now, is the spectrum going to be inappropriate?
I feel like every generation wants to have their own version of something they call something because it just like, it separates them from the previous. Like I even think now like we have homeless people here in California. Oh, I'm sorry. They're unhoused now.
Right.
They still don't have a home. Do you think they care if you go by somebody, oh, please help me, I'm homeless. Actually, you're unhoused. Is that going to help their situation?
Right.
But it sounds better to the generation today.
It sounds better to whoever. But yeah, it's like, okay, let me say unhoused now instead of homeless. Or, we know illegal alien, like, come
that
on.
Ain't happening
now, I'm
anymore,
glad that one has gone away. But you've gone from illegal to undocumented.
Right.
To migrants. Immigrants to migrants. And it's like, is that really solving the border crisis?
Right.
Is that really solving immigration reform?
I think that the fact that the situation sucks, it's not going to make any words pretty that up. You're not going to pretty up.
But I am like the only one that I'm like, okay, I'm glad they did away with was illegal aliens. Mm-hmm. Like that's not cool.
True.
And so for MAGA people, they like to double down on that term because they want to drive the nail in the coffin. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But that is an undignified way to identify somebody.
How do you feel about the journey of calling Black people black, like going from like Negro to nigga to African American to black to I don't know what they're calling us these days, but like there's been a wide variety of words that over time have like gone in the style, out of style, back into style.
Because back in the day, some people preferred to be called Negro, right?
Yeah. And there was also colored,
they would prefer Negro over colored, right? Mm. And then so I don't mind African American or black. Because, whichever term fits. So I don't really have a problem with that, but some people do. And I find what's really interesting is how Africans identify with those terms.
How do they identify?
They just have a totally different perspective about being called an African American because, number one, Africa is a continent. So
yes. Well, when we got here though, they were trying to mix us all up and strip that away from us, so we can't find our general roots.
But I think a lot of that had to do, of course, with hate and not knowing, but ignorance on their part. And so we've kind of traditionally carried that ignorance. And then if somebody from Ghana comes over here, or somebody from
they so mad
or Kenya, it's like Africa is a continent. I'm Kenyan. I'm Ghanaian. I'm from Johannesburg. And so or I'm Egyptian.
Yeah, because we never say like, oh, you're a European American. It's like, no, I'm from Germany and I'm from Spain and I'm from whatever. Right. Like, yeah.
But we group all of them in so to say African American, it's like, to them it's semi joke.
No, it's essentially because I used to back in the day I was dating somebody that was Eritrean and they were very much like, no, I'm Eritrean. There's no African American, nothing. Like I'm Eritrean or my family's this, and they're very like Ethiopians, Eritreans are very like solid about like who they are, where they come from. They're not trying to do all this like you're going to dissect me into these different into just one big group,
right? Well, that's the whole point, and so it's like that's all systemically designed. You know what I mean? But I also think with the inception of this country and white folks, it was also ignorance. Yeah, because they didn't even identify people when they came over here on boats. I don't think by their country. They were just African. We got some Africans.
I figured they were just all getting siphoned out to like either Ghana or wherever it was in that coast. So they could have come from far away and just boom, they all come to the same location
They're
to get taken
African.
out. So
That's what I'm saying. There was no, so it's important for, I would like to know my lineage. I don't know yet because I think it's important, like even having this conversation, identity matters.
Yeah.
And if you know where you're from, you have a better sense of who you are.
Well, they do have the Black DNA kits out now. Like my cousin told me about it like a few years ago. You can literally get one that's like, it'll specifically trace the part of Africa that you're from.
Yeah.
So that's a way to go about doing that. Because I think it's definitely important. I want to make a trip to some South Africa or Ghana or someplace else I want to go.
Go to Ghana. I want to go to Zanzibar for sure.
Why Zanzibar?
Because the beaches.
Oh, really?
The beaches are gorgeous.
We hear about all like the European beaches and also we never hear about like the African stuff other than we get to see those nature documentaries of, they're still in like top naked and wearing stuff.
I want to go to the bush too.
No, I'll go too. I'm just like, but just show some cities.
I want to go to Zanzibar. I want to go to Johannesburg. South Africa. I want to visit Kenya. I want to go to Ghana. I want to visit the continent. I do. I wouldn't mind going to I want to go to Egypt. I want to see the pyramids.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I want to go to where, I want to go to Mecca. I want to,
I don't know how safe that part of the world is now, but at some point. Yeah.
I mean, well, the United States ain't the safest place anymore either, so people are looking at us now like, what's happening over there?
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor, but yeah, I want to take these journeys.
I'm going to Bali later this year. That's Indonesia, but still, like.
Yeah, I want to do Bali. I want to go to Greece, Athens. There's such a big world out there, and especially now, even talking about this because of all of the Trump shit and the MAGA shit and the killing of black people by police officers. Like, we're not safe even with our own safety.
Yeah.
A lot of people are talking about, if Donald Trump gets reelected, about attaining dual citizenship.
Really?
Yeah, that is a huge conversation within the black community, dual citizenship and obtaining it, because you just don't know if Donald Trump gets back in office. You look at Project 2025, you look at the things that he's telling you that he's going to do, and he says he ain't leaving if he get in. So
he always says stuff, by the way, jokingly, and then it comes true. You're like, he's not joking, people. He's not.
So, I mean, dual citizenship is also a conversation or something you may want to explore.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I think that's all I got for today. That's all you got. Yeah.
So way to end it, dual citizenship. Yes, and on that note,
nothing else. Get your passport. It's because just really like traveling. I went to Australia a few years ago, and like just be able to. It felt like a cousin of the United States, but it was still cool to like go to a rainforest and be able to see like how they do their cities and stuff, and like that. Just going and explore the world in general is, if you can afford to do it, and it ain't got to be like expensive. You can find ways to travel that are within your budget.
Right.
That still allow you to have a good time. You can go backpacking in places. That's
because they say Bali is expensive to get to, but once you get there, it's really cheap.
Like I'm on a monthly plan to pay each month until like I think September, and so I think we owe like another $2,000 and it's paid for. But it's like like once you get there, your money goes a long way.
Right.
So, but get to places. You can do mission trips. You can stay at hostels in a lot of these countries and you can go to like the various towns and they're well-to-do to take care of you and stuff like that. Like there's ways to do it. So I don't think you can't, is what I'm saying.
Right.
But anyway, guys, thanks for watching this episode. Let us know what you guys would like us to talk about in the future, or if you have comments on anything we've said in this show, you can leave them down in the chat as well, and we will happily respond to them at some point on a later show.
All right. Peace out, y'all.
Peace out, y'all. We're out.